Just come on up to your full power. Come on up to your full power. Come on up to your full power. Just come on up to your full power. Whoa. Welcome back, everybody. We're here for the 5th episode. We made it to 5.
Whoa.
We're here.
One whole season of our podcast together.
Little baby mini season of 5 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, going into it, now we're all up to full power, and we're going to let you know how we did that. We finally wrapped all of our projects up. Everybody did what they needed to do. And, yeah, we're here to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, so first things first, the jingle that you all just heard was a little different. It had our friend Renee on it.
It did.
What was that like, recording that with me? What was that experience like?
It was honestly really fun.
Good.
You snap into a very different teacher recording mode, which
Yeah.
is fun to see. So my main problem with it is learning to be loud and also hearing myself back when we did so many takes of it. You could hear times when, oh, I'm not confident in this time. Or this time I sound angry was really funny to hear back. But how much your emotions go into the performance can get picked up immediately on a microphone. And we would do a bunch of takes of it to find what would fit right or what fit the most confidence. And that was really cool to see because I've never been in a baby recording studio.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think about back in the first episode when we were talking about the thing you wanted to work on was like being able to hear yourself at all. So you would have like 3 videos of you singing in the car and you listened back to them, and that felt like the hardest homework ever. And in this recording session, constantly you're hearing take after take, and we're listening back and we're thinking about what we want to tweak and make better. You can see the growth just in how tolerant you are of your own voice now.
Yeah, so part of the process, I can try to explain and probably get corrected, is we had the original one playing, and then Tommy had to do a high Mickey Mouse version of it so that I could match it. So I started off with trying to match that version playing in my ear while I would sing and record until we found a take of me doing it that was good enough. And then that would become the background sound for me to listen to, and then we would just keep finessing it until it was to the point where it's more confident this time, or this time we hit all the correct spots we needed to. So I would just keep hearing myself on repeat for the whole time, which is a big step up from never hearing myself before. And I got really comfortable with it, to be honest. So that was nice. Little moment to come full circle on, but I liked it. I think it was fun.
Yeah, the good enough take would become the reference, and then we would have a better take, and then that would become the reference, and it would just step up from there, getting better every time we did it, unless we, like, missed an entrance, and then we'd go, scrap that. But yeah, I had my Mickey Mouse voice. I was singing an octave up from you, because you can't sing down here. That's not what your voice is built to do. So I octave up in my creaky falsetto, and you were very kind to listen to that for an hour or two.
That's fine.
It just sounds very brassy and funny, I think, which added to the fun and the humor of it. It was cool the way that we chunked it out. I think that's important because if you do it all in one take, there's so much time to, like, overthink. And there were some takes where you would listen back and you were going, oh, I'm not doing any singing at all. All I'm doing is thinking this take. And you can hear it in your voice if you're overthinking. And so some things that we did to try to get away from that is I would throw, like, hand motions for you to do. And how was that? Being told to throw baseballs and shoot darts. And
It was fun because reflecting on everything I've been told to get better was you need to move more. And I'll say even the first take, I think it was, I was standing like all curled up in a ball in front of the mic. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, that didn't make any sense. But that's just me being like defensive of I don't want to sing out. And so we had to keep using the fact that we would record over and over again as practice to get more comfortable, just projecting more and being louder and just having fun with it. So the more fun it got, the more it was easy to move around, and then you end up just bopping your head the whole time because it's stuck in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully the jingle's now stuck in everybody else's head because it's still in mine yesterday.
And it's catchy. I feel like the guy that wrote that is pretty cool. I don't know.
I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. My high school choir teacher used to call it, when your posture wasn't good, like bending your instrument, because the voice is your instrument, so it's like taking a clarinet and putting it in knots. So we kind of like shook out, and I think that helped as well, like loosen up the voice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm just always going to be a proponent of you got to move a little when you're singing, because it creates this really great sound.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're working like in Logic Pro on my laptop, there's just like this feeling of there being no support when you're listening to your track in isolation, or even just a couple of other voices. It's not like a highly produced thing, so it's a little more raw. You can really hear yourself. When you can hear just yourself and it's not like a full performance, or if you're not moving, you can really hear the difference. I know, like, when I make little arrangements just for fun for myself, I'll arrange by singing and I'll record that way, and then I have to re-record everything I just wrote because I'm thinking about what I'm writing, and you can hear the thinking. Like we just said, you can hear when a person is think singing. And sometimes just like a little bit of a smile, or even thinking about a happy memory, like you're casting a Patronus. If you think about a happy memory, the singing gets better.
I got told to have a happy memory to make sure I was smiling and doing it. And then even when I forgot to do that, what ended up happening is Tommy would jump in front of the microphone and then start moving around to distract me. And I still wouldn't look at him because I was going to get distracted.
But you could catch me in your peripheral vision, and that would kind of take you out of your headspace, which is great.
Yeah. It was enough to make it just be like everybody's having fun and messing around, to just make a project and not, this is serious, needs to be absolutely perfect and we need to lock in and get it done. It's just having fun and making cool stuff.
If it had to be perfect, then we'd need some like we'd need some crazy studio setup instead of just like my Rode microphone in my room. And there's some room tones, and like next door we've got the 6 puppies that live in my neighbor's backyard barking at random intervals. Like, we could have had our perfect take at some point, and then all of a sudden there are puppies that are screaming. Perfection is not something worth chasing.
I don't think so.
No.
It's better, always in my mind, to at least get something out there and get it done than try to chase like the perfect image of it, because then you'll never get it done because you're waiting for every single sign to show you this is right or that's supposed to be the way it is, or it's never good enough, and that's a deep hole to dig. But as long as you got something out there, you're doing better than if you didn't do anything. So
Have fun, do your best, and there's going to be a good product at the end of that.
yeah.
So it's one thing to have as many takes as you need to produce something that you're happy with. It's a whole nother thing to do it live.
Yes.
So Renee's Up to Full Power moment happened at a karaoke place in Ithaca, K House. Shout out. They're fantastic. We went over to K House, a bunch of us from our program, and then there were also some people just from in town that Renee didn't know, and she performed for all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a little story time on how it happened was we were going to shoot it on a Thursday, and classically, as we've seen throughout this whole season, I got sick earlier in the week, and I had a head cold where everything just sounded so stuffy and congested. That was happening. I panicked a little, I will not lie, and also was like, okay, everybody's coming to see. I got all in my head of like, they're coming to watch me perform, and then it turned into a whole performance in my head. I'm like, I'm not anywhere near where I need to be because I sound terrible right now. And I was like, I don't want people to show up and hear me sounding bad for this thing that they're expecting to have a whole big moment for, when that's not the original goal of it. So I got very in my head very quickly. But also being sick, I was like, okay, we got to push it at least one day so I don't sound like I have a cold.
That perfection creeps in, right? It's like, well, my voice isn't what it was yesterday, and yesterday could have been a perfect performance, but it can't be that now. Something's happened. The weather has shifted very, very abruptly.
And even taking a chance on it, I was like, what if tomorrow it's even worse? But we can't push it back anymore. And internally, I did have a little bit of a hard time processing, like, oh, people are coming to see this. And that's not something that's always been around when I do things. Like, if I run a race for a long time, I've never invited people to see it, which is a little odd when most people are like, get everybody to come see me or come watch and see me perform or do this. I don't operate that way because it takes the pressure off of me. If it's just me doing my thing, I don't have to worry about making it perfect, is how I've, like, bypassed that. But in this case, I was like, oh, people are coming in expect something, and I don't like when they expect something. So I had a little crash and burn moment where I was like, I don't want that to come, I don't want to do it. Because before, in my head, it was like, oh, we're going to go to a karaoke place, and it's just all random people. You walk in, you're probably not going to see them again unless you keep going back. And that's easier to do when it's people you know. The whole point of the project is like, this is a lot harder.
Thinking about that early fear of, if I try out for the musical, then there are going to be people in the audience watching me. I'm sure if you did an audition or you were belting out a song on stage and there was no one in the audience, you could do that any day of the week and you could be very happy with how it went. But as soon as that auditorium is full, even if it's full of strangers, if one person is somebody that you know and is going to talk to you about it later and is going to remember it, it can shake you up.
Yeah. So it did, which is a little bit why I was like, okay, let's push it back another day.
But the important thing is not only that we did it, but we said, and we're going to do it on this Friday, that next day, no matter what happens, even if the world falls apart more than it did on that Thursday, it's going to be a performance, and it's going to be a great performance, and it was.
Yeah. Honestly, pushing it back, there was no other time we could do it, so by pinning it in a corner made it happen too, which I need to make things happen sometimes when I don't want to do them. Yeah, so that night we all show up there, we're all picking, everybody's there. I had to get told to pick a song faster because I kept stalling. In my head of like, okay, my head is everything sounds like I'm sick, so maybe this version's not going to be great. So I picked one of the two songs that I wasn't going to do. I don't know why I did that. And then I also was stalling to the point where people were like, okay, you need to pick because there's this whole queue where other people in the place were signing up for songs. I'm like, it's going to be a while till I have to perform.
You were blessed to have the external pressures that you did.
Yes.
We had this time crunch, so we had to do it on this day. We've got this queue, and Friday is a popular night, and all these people are pulling up, and there's this queue that you got to get in, so you got to do it now, and then you did.
Yeah.
And if there wasn't a queue, if it was, whenever you're ready, go up and sing, then you could have kept stalling.
Oh, I was never ready. I was never going to be ready.
You'd be thinking about it all day long, so...
I had some good excuses. I was like, Tommy, can you go first?
Yeah, I did, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
But you were in that queue already, so it was already happening.
Yeah.
And it was just an opportunity to see other people singing. It's just casual. It's something that you were going to rock. I think we all rocked.
Yeah. And then as soon as it got to the person before me, I pulled a classic Renee move of, yes, because I was sick, I needed to cough, and I didn't want to cough in the place in front of everybody. To be like, okay, she sounds sick, and then she just runs on stage. So I felt really bad. And then, so I went out to my car, got a drink of water, cleared my throat out a little bit, and I'm not going to lie, I started practicing in the car right before.
The song you were going to sing?
I did.
Nice.
Because I panicked. And then I get a text of, you need to come back here, you're almost, like, it's almost your song. So I race back in, and everybody's, I think, a little frantic, and I just pretty much go from through the door straight on stage, which is how I operate. Like, if I sit and think too much before something, I will stall and not do it, or I'll get scared. That moment of going out and racing back in with no time to spare gave me, like, 3 times more confidence than if I had been sitting in the chair waiting for that person before me to finish up and start singing. So that's just how I operate. But I'm sure it gave everybody panic, so I'm excited to hear the other side.
But you know what? You needed that immediacy. You needed the urgency of the moment. You needed no opportunity to overthink. I know a lot of musicians, and all of them, even the most talented, continue to get stage fright in the moments leading up to the performance. So anything that you can do to shrink that interval between where you are now and when you'll be on that stage is good. Any sort of distraction that you can give yourself, any sort of motion before and during performance, anything that you can pivot away from this mindset of delay and stalling and anxiety for the future, any way you can shorten that, you should do it.
Yeah.
Take yourself out of the environment, pulled yourself back in, and then you gave a great performance.
Yeah, it was fun.
You came off stage and you said it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't. Like, doing it, I couldn't even see where everybody was, to be honest, because the lights are hitting you really bright. I think everybody just went to the back of the house, basically, because nobody wanted to be up front. I couldn't tell if anybody was up front, to be honest. There was a couple of times, like, I would have a moment where I either forgot a line, I paused or whatever, and I was just like, oh, you just keep going, it's fine. So I think it was fun, and as soon as I finished, I was like, oh, I would want to do it again. Yeah. Or a different song, or like redo it, because redo for perfection, because it's just fun.
No, we redo because it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Redo when you're not sick. Yeah, I was like, I need a redemption
for
not being sick. That's what my mind wanted.
Yeah. And you also had a very good song choice. So you did Before He Cheats, which is a song where the character is very confident and is saying, no matter what happens, no matter what other people do, I'm just going to, like, throw things. Yeah. Like, nobody can stop me. Nobody can get in the way of me. And even your own mind can't get in your own way. You can just kind of punch through it all.
Yeah. I liked picking songs that are characters in my mind, because then you become a character to sing it. It's not me necessarily singing it, or at least I'm not feeling like I'm cheated on in that moment when I'm singing it, but I like playing the character of somebody who's being very dramatic in that moment. But also to tie back into, like, movement and being on stage, everybody was seeing the video, and when I watched it back, I was like, I am so closed off holding the mic. It's really funny to me now, but I'm like, oh, now I'm forever going to be in that position, and I see why people move, and it looks more flowy and natural, because that made it easier to do things. Like, I would start pacing around just to move, because I'm like, I'm just standing here, what am I going to do? But I think I would go back and practice not being closed off in how I was holding the mic and everything if I were to do it again. Like, later we did a whole group song, and I think everybody is way more fluid and having fun with that one.
Yeah, but just because you've achieved your goal of getting up there and singing doesn't mean that the journey stops here.
No.
There's things that you can do differently, new things that you want to try in this same vein, and opening yourself up during that performance is a part of that. It's one of those things.
We just opened the door on that one.
Yeah.
So it was, you're up there for not that long. Wasn't that big of a deal as I made it in my head. But
we always build it up, and then you get to the thing itself, and then you want to do it all the time.
Yeah, and it went by too fast, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been living here in Ithaca for 5 years, and we had never made it out to K House. And now that we've been there, it rocks. We're going to go back all the time.
Yeah.
Every weekend till we graduate. Yeah.
It's our new spot.
Yeah.
So we had karaoke that you saw on our Instagram, but you've also probably seen Tommy do his try that was on our Instagram.
We did it, guys.
We did it.
Woo. Yeah, the triathlon went so well. I had some friends of mine come and do portions of it with me. My friend Lily came and did some of the bike, and then Renee ran the race with me, and our friend Sam from our MBA program came and cheered me on at some point. You probably saw all of that on the Instagram. But the triathlon went great. It was really tough at times. But we have our times here with transitions, all told. The entire time took us 2 hours and 10 minutes, but that's with moving from the pool area over to the place where we did the bike and the run, and I was really happy with my times. I usually do the swim in 17 minutes, and this time around we did it in 15:53, so shaved off some time there. The bike usually takes me a full hour. This time we cut 7 minutes down to 52:54, and then we get to the run, and I think the time saved early on made it so that it would be a lot harder at the end. So the run took me 50 minutes and 35 seconds. We got just over 2 hours altogether. Like I said, the run was tough. I would say after about a mile, my whole right leg was locking up. That could be because I was pushing it a little bit on the bike, whereas I don't typically. I try to spread it out because it isn't a sprint, right? My right shin was really starting to hurt after a mile. And, shin splints are a real concern. You kind of just have to pause for a second if you're having that kind of pain. And everything was locking up, and I just feel this cloud of despair, right? Because I'm so close. I've been working so hard, And it feels like we're back to the drawing board because I can't really move my leg, and I certainly can't get back on and finish this run right away. We put a pause in the panic. We started stretching out. Anytime I started to like go back into my head, you would say, all right, let's try this stretch. Let's try moving this way. I decided, you know what, I'll walk for a little bit. I was still feeling that pain on the walk, and I was getting nervous again. And I said to myself, okay, you're going to jog for 30 seconds. And if it hurts, you have to stop. And that you have to be okay with that. And you're probably going to have to just come back a different day. And that's when you'll achieve your goal. And I start jogging, and everything starts to loosen up. Now I'm running again, and I'm running, and then I hit 2 miles. And I'm starting to feel super tired, but it isn't the kind of pain that's going to stop this race anymore. It was kind of magical. A minute or 5 minutes difference from feeling like I can't do this thing. I have to stop. And it feels devastating to the euphoria of I'm about to finish this thing. This is going to happen. And then the victory of that 3, 2, 1, I've just run a triathlon was so very cool. And I think it's really important to consider how kind of like with that panic that happened with my shin after a mile of the run, and that panic that happened right before you got on stage, before we get up to full power, there's that dip. There's always going to be a lot of challenge right before you do the thing that you've always wanted to do. No matter how much buildup you have, that cliche about darkest before the dawn, it's real. And you don't have to be afraid of it. You can get over it. And it makes the achievement all the more special.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that truly was just an incredible day for me. I felt a ton of support. I did the thing I set out to do.
It was a fun day. I didn't even do the whole thing, but just sitting and recording and being in that process of, at least for me, like doing it in the past, watching other people do things that like I can understand what it's like in that moment is really fun. Because if you were having a hard time, like on the run, I was like, okay, I know what it's like been in the shoes. What can I do to help get you through that to make sure you would finish? Because part of me was like, I have a sinking suspicion there's shin splints coming up. Either we can full push through it, which isn't a great idea to do, but sometimes in a race, that's the mindset you take on because you're like, I'm so close. We've come this far. Like, we've already done the swim and the bike, and this is the last thing left. Or do a little bit of a reset. And the reset, at least my thought process was, that's going to challenge your brain of like, okay, I'm back to square one, which gives you a little more determination to make sure you get to the end.
Okay.
So going back to triathlon, so now that we've documented this whole thing, we also have something else to document it for you.
Oh my goodness. It's a medal.
Because you ran a race. This always happens.
Oh my goodness. It has the Up to Full Power logo on it. Oh my goodness. You guys.
I mean, you didn't have a formal race entry or race entry fee, but we can't not document it.
Thank you.
Yay.
It's got the year on it. I ran a triathlon in 2025. It's not going to fit over the headphones.
That's okay.
But look at that. Thank you.
You're welcome. This shows how he's actually up to full power.
I'm there now.
It says
Look
so.
at me.
He's got a medal.
And you've got a... What is it? It's a memento as well. Our wonderful program director, Margaret Shackle,
Yes.
got you a shirt that says K-House on it. So you
do.
can always remember.
Yeah, it's coming with
Look
me
at that.
everywhere. New karaoke specialist. Got my outfit now.
We've got our Forget-Me-Nots now.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Gotta document the whole process.
OMG.
Yay.
I gotta run more races so I can get more medals.
Yeah, you gotta have a wall of them.
Yeah. My brother Bill is a Special Olympics swimmer, and he's got wall-to-wall medals. After years and years of running all these events and swimming the butterfly and the IM and freestyle. So I'm just starting to catch up now.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Open the door to keep running races. Well, you already got the one medal, so.
Might as well do more. So we ran that triathlon, and that was fantastic. And then 2 days later, I had a 10K that I had signed up for earlier in the year. And what a dunce. to put those so close together. But it's just the way the schedule worked out. Back in January, I wanted to do this 10K. And so I got 2 days of recovery, and then I was back in it. I am used to running 5Ks for this triathlon training, so doing double that was really tough, but I was able to do it, and I was recovered enough that I could get through it with no shin splints this time, no pain in my legs whatsoever. Well, some soreness, but no, like, I have to stop right now.
That's really good for avoiding an injury, because you would have known immediately if it were shin splints.
And I was stretching out constantly in the 2 days leading up to that so that I would be ready. And it went super well. My wonderful girlfriend, Andrea, ran the event as well. She did the half marathon portion, but her mom, Maggie, and Maggie's friend, Christine, they ran it with me and the 10K, which was so much fun. We were all chatting and joking the whole way through, and we were running through the Ithaca countryside. Some sheep appeared at about mile 3, and that was some nice motivation because they were adorable. And it was hilly. I'm used to running on a treadmill where there are no hills, or on a trail where there's very little terrain incline change. So it was really tough, but I knew that I could do hard things. I did the triathlon, so I knew that I could get through this. And I walked a couple of uphills, but that got me through it. And I had a lot of fun. Yeah, it was great. And it just showed to me that the goal isn't the terminal point. I got to the triathlon, and now I can do 10Ks, and I can do other events, and maybe I can try for a triathlon with a faster time or no shin splint pain whatsoever. Yeah, there's always more that I'm now able to do. That race was a lot of fun. Lily was there as well, supporting me in both my events. Thank you, Lily. When we got to the finish line, Christine and Maggie were saying, I tried to walk for a little bit so that I could run in and have a good finish. And they call back to me and they go, "Are you going to let 2 older women beat you?" "No, you're not. Pick up the pace." And so I sprinted it in. And you saw on Instagram, if you were on there, that the end of the 10K was really nice. We're going to keep active. We're going to keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't stop here.
No, I think we've had too much fun that we can't let it go now.
Mm-hmm. So if you liked season 1, wink, wink, maybe we'll do some more.
Maybe it might turn to another season 2, because we've always got stuff we're growing and going to be living through, especially soon, coming towards graduation. We have a whole new chapter in our lives coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, we'll see if we story time that.
Well, what's next for you?
At least for me, we'll talk post-grad. We'll get to graduation once we cross that stage again. For me, I want to spend a chunk of time working on a lot of digital projects I've never got the chance to fully sit down and explore. So that looks like, it sounds almost too techie, but I have a lot of portfolio work that I wanted to make, or sit and make videos where I have all this content that's just in files and I never got to play with. But there's a lot of things that I could make with it for myself to make myself enjoy looking back at time spent. Very vague answer of what I have recorded, but there's a lot of little things I want to sit and make and have the time to do. Because one of my favorite things to do on breaks is just go to a coffee shop, sit and edit or write for a while, and play around on the creative side to work on that instead of doing math, which I've had to do a lot recently. Going back and working on that and having a lot of projects to just send out into the world that I haven't quite had the chance to do, I think is on my docket.
Everybody in our program, we're all creatives, and so we're always looking to make new things. I know I'm always trying new recipes. I really like to cook, so that's something that I hope to be doing more. But my big goal, I think, I've got that big move to New York City dream going on, and as I approach graduation, all the things that come with that, apartment hunting, job hunting, and the million little things that come with that. I've been building up my website. You can check me out at tommyzeger.com. I own that domain. Making new music, meeting new people, all the world-expanding things that we talked about with Shauna last week, I feel really open up to us once we graduate. So that's really exciting.
Yeah. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but I look at, even though this chapter is closing on being in school where you get all the time to work on things, it's opening a new door of a different schedule to have time to work on new areas.
And you can cultivate that lifelong learning mindset. Just because you're not in school formally doesn't mean you can't take yourself to school on all these different new skills.
Mm-hmm.
So that's we're about to get a worldly education, I think, as we leave the bubble of Ithaca College that we've been at for 5 years. This is such a comfort zone for us.
Yeah.
So new frontiers await, and it's exciting and cool and terrifying and oh my God. And
but we still could bring this forward
mm-hmm.
as a way to set aside some time to chat with everybody we know and keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
So it just keeps documenting everything moving forward.
Yeah,
as a
that
little
valuable
idea.
reflection time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like sitting and recording this stuff, so I don't mind keeping that in my schedule.
It's not a goodbye, it's a see you soon, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. See you soon with some new things, maybe a new place we're in, probably. Say goodbye to this little room.
Thanks for coming up to full power with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.
Just come on up to your full power. Come on up to your full power. Come on up to your full power. Just come on